Hey peeps, what's up? My name is Kari, and I'm going to help you fix your hammer swing. So a lot of you guys, and myself included when I started, was treating a blacksmith hammer like a framing hammer, right? Swinging from the elbow and hitting, right? And that's, and it works obviously, right? But you'll notice that your elbow, I don't know, after an hour or so, feels like it's going to fall off. And that's because what you're doing is it's just mechanically different from hitting a little tiny nail into a piece of wood. You're moving metal, right? And you're using a much heavier hammer typically. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a biomechanically more intelligent hammer swing for you that you can hopefully do all day. My background is in martial arts, weapons work, obviously blacksmithing, and I'm also a recovering physicist. So I guess I know what I'm talking about, but you know, it's up to you. You can do this experiment at home on your own, and you'll see hopefully that that there's a difference. So first off, we're going to use the magic word, which is radius, which is basically, if I look at a hammer, right, it's drawing part of a circle every time I swing it. The longer the radius, the more the mass affects the center, right? So if I do a swing from my wrist, it's really light. It's not going to do a whole lot. And it's hard for me to reproduce my strike. So what we want to do is we want to create a big radius going down and a small radius coming up. Why? Because I don't want to lift this hammer and put all the torque on this joint, right? And my elbow and tax everything on the way up if I don't have to, right? So I want to, instead of lifting and dropping and lifting and dropping, I want you to think about pulling, pushing, and relaxing. All right. So here's the big experiment. Grab yourself a kettlebell. This guy's only 15 pounds, but I mean, it's definitely enough. Try a regular hammer swing, and you're gonna feel the tendons in your elbow just jump. And try to do like just a couple hammer swings, and you're gonna realize that it's not sustainable, it's not intelligent. So instead, what I want you to do is pull that up to your bottom rib, right? If you look at old artwork of blacksmiths, right, you see three poses, right? There's one when the hammer is here, one when the hammer is over their shoulder, and then one, right, where the hammer is on the anvil, right? Okay. From ribs, push your elbow forward, and you're gonna notice that the weight is directly over my elbow. So my biceps and none of my elbow tendons are doing anything. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna relax. And you see that swing? So I'm going to pull to my ribs, push forward, relax, and that swing is actually what lifts the hammer. So I'm not using the muscles of my arm, I'm literally using momentum to lift the hammer. Pull, lift, and drop. Pull and push. Pull and push. Okay? You can do that all day, right? And so if you're, blacksmith, knife maker, whatever, and you want to actually make a living and not end up in the hospital, you need to be able to do it all day. All right. So I learned this from a blacksmith in Finland by the name of Sami Maajärvi. So again, pull up to my ribs, push up, and drop. So let gravity, let the mass of your arm add to the mass of your hammer, right? So a lot of dudes are using these like 5-pound and bigger hammers, right? But if you think about it, if you're hitting here, you're only using half the mass of your arm, and you've got a short lever. So you need that extra mass to move metal. If you push up, use gravity, elongate your lever, and drop your arm, boom. You're gonna add the mass of your arm to the mass of your hammer. On average, your arm weighs about 12.5% of your body weight. No, sorry, 6.5% of your body weight, which for me makes a 12-pound arm. Okay, probably more like 14. COVID. So I drop 14 pounds of arm on a long lever. I'm moving metal like crazy. I started doing this hammer strike this way, and my neighbors complained. The difference in the amount of energy that I created was entirely different from this construction strike, right? So I push, I drop, and right before I make contact with my anvil is when I start my pull. And it's like rowing a boat. Again, huge muscles that cross the whole back. Push, drop, pull, and then I relax, and it's already at my shoulder again. So a little push, drop, pull, relax, and there it is. It's already up. So my elbow doesn't do any work, all right? From the front, I'm not Robbie the Robot. I'm turned, okay, so that it's in front of my core. I'm gonna push, boom, pull, relax, pull, relax, pull, relax, pull, relax. The other thing you'll see is this is an amazingly consistent hammer strike, because if I have my hand in the same place and I relax the same way, I'm going to hit the steel the same every single time, okay? If I don't need to hit it as hard, I don't go as high, but I still relax and I end up in the same spot, the same position every single time. So it's super consistent, it's super easy, it's good on my body, and it generates a ton of power, right? Because the minute I use that long lever, and engage the big muscles of my back to pull, you're just gonna be smearing steel instead of trying to do this construction hammer strike. Lastly, bending your knees, all right? It may seem silly, but if at just before the point of contact, I bend my knees, what I'm doing now is I'm adding the entire mass of my body to my strike. So by moving my body up and down, you see the hammer moves, right? If I'm fully extended, the hammer's moving down, and I drop my weight quickly, enough to lift my heels off the floor, boom, like a 1/16 of an inch. Now I'm swinging, and it's like I'm, The Rock dropping the people's elbow, boom, on that steel, all right? So then suddenly, this little 2-kilogram hammer is affecting force using my entire 200-pound mass over a lever of about 3 feet. That's huge. It's huge. It's sustainable. You can do it all day. All right. If you have any questions, leave comments. I'm happy to hear what you guys think. It's made a huge difference in my capacity, my ability to do good quality blacksmithing, especially like brute to forge work where you need a super consistent hammer strike. Thanks for your time. Cheers.